And so this is our Hoarding Mama Earth release, the press release that we did. It's a research release, 2019. And so I'm going to introduce a little bit about it. Vacant lots and empty buildings are being hoarded, i.e. not housing people who are in desperate need of housing, sometimes for years. And us homeless and formerly homeless youth and families at Homefulness, by doing extensive research, can help take them back for the good of the people. This is happening at an increasing rate year by year, and us at Homefulness, Poor Magazine, and Decolonize Academy are making sure the word of the houseless people who need to live on these to avoid criminalization from the police is heard, and that in the near future, the template of Homefulness can be utilized on some of these vacant lots on Mama Earth, taking it off the real estate market once and for all.
We as youth and family scholars who have been homeless for much of our life launched this research project by walking around our poor people of colored neighborhoods where land and homeless are hoarded, where race and racism cause the blighting and destroying of our hoods and towns and barrios, so that land can be flipped and we can be evicted, not redistributed. And now our communities are facing eviction and displacement at an extreme rate.
San Francisco ugly laws were passed in 1867, significantly earlier than the 1890s. Also, 21st century ugly laws were created to target unhoused people, to arrest them for being homeless in the streets. Berkeley is especially harassed toward unhoused people. That's why they have ugly laws in Berkeley. You can't sleep in your car, or you can't sleep in public park, and some other ugly laws. But if the police officer sees you do any one of these things, you will get arrested right away.
Business Improvement District, or BID, is a district dealing with gentrification and homeowners kicking people out that are poor and colored, putting them in the ghetto, making it only business property, and saying it will improve the place.
Now that was a sneak peek at a little bit of our Hoarding Mama Earth research project, and those were three things we talked about: ugly laws, business improvement districts, and the fact that all of this is happening in our own neighborhoods. You don't have to go out to different countries to see poverty and extreme hatred toward poor people. You can look right down the street. So thank you.
Whee! Give a hand for the youth scholars. When we talking about decolonizing the raids of indigenous refugees, I want to specifically bring up the whole notion that these brothers and sisters who are crossing these colonizer borders, they are actually indigenous peoples, which means the United Nations Declaration on Indigenous Peoples protects them to cross these false colonial borders in pursuit of work or food or housing or ceremony. Essentially, it completely wipes out the notion of borders and the false border incarceration of our babies that is happening right now. It's an actionable thing to use, and even though the United Nations is not something a lot of us poor people are helped by, as a matter of fact, oftentimes it causes more harm. This was created by indigenous peoples, and so it's really important to understand that can be used, that Articles 10, 11, 17, and 27, and many more in that document can be used to fight these false borders. The other thing is, why did our youth scholars talk about homelessness? Guess what? Folks from the other side of the false borders are homeless. There's a thought. And they're forced to leave because they have no resources in their own land because of empire wars, colonization, forced and crafted poverty, NAFTA and CAFTA, and all the other ways that the U.S. empire and the European empire continue to predate on poor people in their land, and specifically indigenous land. So in that vein, we're going to ask our Africa Crip Hop folks to talk. Do you want to? Yeah, please.
before Francine and Lucas from the Congo come out, I want to frame it because these cages are nothing new.
Right.
These cages happened to my ancestors, disabled ancestors, for entertainment called freak shows. A lot of disabled people, especially disabled people of color, were locked in cages so white people can have their entertainment. So these cages are nothing new. Crip Hot Nation is an international network of people with disabilities from around the world. And we do our work on our SSI dollar budget. And this week, we did an African disabled musician tour in the Bay Area. And artists from Africa came on their own dime. No Ford Foundation grant here, just SSI dollars. They came on their own dime to speak and to share their music and art. So Francis and Lucas is from the Congo, and they're going to speak about their situation in the Congo. But Tati was talking about the UN. Also, the UN passed a treaty on people with disabilities. And guess what? The U.S. hasn't signed this treaty. A lot of other countries signed it, but the U.S. hasn't signed it. So I want to give it up to Lucas and Francine from the Congo.